Hello, today for review I've got model from pretty famous company Yinyoo. This model is named D2B4, like R2D2, something like that. As you can probably guess by this abbreviation, it means that it has 2 dynamic drivers and 4 balanced armatures per each earpiece. Of course you can say, oh, I know this schema, I've heard about it before, and you will be definitely right. It really reminds popular BGVP DM6. Sorry, not DM6, DMG, of course. BGVP DMG that I reviewed before, and it gathered a lot of attention and popularity. So Yinyoo decided to release the model with similar drivers, but they gave this model really different tuning and different design. So we'll have now a closer look. Before I proceed, I should mention that its initial price was about $140, but actually soon AliExpress will have a sale and price will be reduced, and you can get this model for about $90 or so. I will put a link to the description, so if you will be interested, just follow it. Package is simple. It's small bluish box with interesting texture with company's logo on it, and nothing besides that. So as you can see, no polygraphy, no barcode, nothing. It was wrapped in plastic, but it was all additional protection. Inside there is Yinyoo warranty card. I got 2 of them, I don't know why, and the case with earphones themselves. So I like minimalistic approach, and this is a good example. With it, inside of case we'll have IEMs themselves and 2 set of tips, 3 pair of tips with narrower bore and 3 pair of tips with wider bore. They change, of course, a bit changing sound, but it's more matter of preferences. So as you can see, accessory set is pretty basic, but it's almost everything that you will need to use in ear monitors, so probably not much sense in adding something. In terms of design, let me push it down. In terms of design, in-ear monitors are really nice. They are made of metal. It feels really solid and pretty stylish. There are 2 versions available, blue one and a black one. As you can see, nice silver accent adding. They made some unusual form for faceplates. I'm not sure does it have any sense or just a cosmetic decision. They are pretty comfortable, they are fitting nice into almost any ears, but of course it depends on size and your outer ear configuration, but it's typical shape of in-ear monitors that are common today. Spouts are pretty long, they have proper angle, so sound isolation is a bit above average, and there is protective mesh inside, looking really stylish, and special lip to hold for better tips holding. Overall, design looks nice and build quality is also really good. It looks really expensive and built really well. Actually, there are 2 possible steps of wearing tip. You can wear it narrower or deeper. It depends, you can vary insertion a little bit. There are a few compensational holes to reduce internal pressure. So as you can see, they put some attention for tuning. Cables are made replaceable. Here used MMCX connectors, pretty normal ones. They have normal clip and holding really well, but you don't have to push with force to disconnect them. Stock cable is good. It's nothing super fancy, but it looks really reliable. There is ear hook formed, no memory wire inside. It's pretty traditional now. And here it goes. It has a bit of microphonic effect, and it's getting a bit hard when it's cold, but anyway, in the regular everyday usage, it's pretty comfortable cable. Ear hook will protect you from the microphonic effect. It's not easy tangling, and at first sight it looks really reliable. It goes to the splitter, but actually after the splitter it goes in parallel, so no braiding, no spirals. It goes in parallel, reminding some FIO models. It goes way down to the regular angled 3.5mm jack. So as you can see, in terms of design, at least to my taste, they are really nice. Fit quality is also pretty good, and cable is also looks really reliable. And of course about the sound. You know, at the beginning I've suspected that Yinyoo can cut some costs and just use the same tuning that DMG has already implemented. But you know, luckily they've decided to tune their model in other way, and they created probably not universal signature, but actually DMG is also not universal, but they created pretty unusual and pretty fun representation, and you know, I like it. It's better than attempts to create something typical and something common. They've decided to make a pretty basic model with additional weight put on the low frequencies and put to the mid frequencies, and with detailed but recessed treble. It's pretty surprising signature for those who are treble phobic, for example, who don't like piercing treble, and for those who like warmer and probably meatier representation. So lows are really deep, they are noticeably accented, probably not to the level of typical bass head in-ear monitors, but more than in traditional tuning. It's prominent, it's noticeable bass, but at the same time it has normal resolution. It's probably not fast as dynamic, as balanced armatures, low frequencies, but it's still not slow, not bloated. It's good in representing textures. It just accented good bass with normal speed and normal resolution. Of course, it's perfect for electronic music, but it plays nicely, you know, with heavy metal sometimes, with jazz and with many other styles that can benefit from additional weight put onto in low frequencies. As an example here, I will use, let's have a dub put on the table. So as an example, I will use Alan Parsons' project, Freudiana, and track No One Will Love You Better Than Me. It's pretty simple actually. It has just some big kicks of a big drum and singing over these kicks and some additional accompaniment, but actually it's pretty minimalistic, and these kicks really represented nicely by D2B4. I always forgetting correct version of this abbreviation. Mids are also on the macro side. They're not going into high detalization because of additional weight put onto mids. They are weighty, not super fast, but resolution is still pretty good, but of course not natural, not monitoring. They not making accent on the micro detalization. They are not like typical balanced armature mids, and not going into thin, dry sounding. It's weighty, it's emotional, it's a bit massive, but they are still pretty enjoyable. They have really coherent representation and really solid representation of the whole melody. Imaginary stage is about average in width and a bit below average in depth, but it's typical for the warmer in-ear monitors, at least to my ears. But layering is still nice, and the instruments have almost normal size. As an example, for the mid frequencies, I've got, well, just think a little bit who can be an example of good weighty mids. Of course, it's some good male vocal, and who is better than Louis Armstrong? So classical song, Go Down Moses, and actually additional weight in representation of this in-ear monitors really sounds great with this tune. And as for treble, you know, it's also interesting thing. Treble here has pretty good extension and normal resolution, maybe not as good as some expensive models, and of course attacks and decays are simplified, but treble per se is pretty nice, but at the same time they just reduced quantity of treble, and so it sounds less prominent, less forward than in other models. You know, it's a matter of taste, of course. I prefer more treble. I'm a pretty big fan of treble, and for me, actually, accented upper frequencies is better than such representation. But I know a lot of people who are sensitive to the treble and who don't like forward representation, so probably many people will like such tuning at the same time. Of course, they are lacking a bit of aggression, they are lacking a bit of forwardness because of that tuning, but of course, you know, it's probably not a bug, it's a feature, they were tuned this way. As an illustration of treble, I've got Sigurdur Rongvaldsson, if I pronounced it quickly, probably some people won't notice that I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly. It's a project named Dark Forest, and track Giant Firefly. It's a bit unusual, futuristic and avant-garde jazz music with a lot of special effects, with pretty forward guitar and some additional instruments. It has a lot of treble, and with some regularly tuned in-ear monitors they can sound sharp. With these IEMs, of course, I'm missing a bit of treble forwardness, but at the same time they sound really comfortable. So to summarize sonic part, if you're looking for comfortable tuning, if you don't like noticeable treble, if you like some weighty and a bit darker representation, it's definitely an interesting model, because they're combining accented lows and weighty mids with pretty detailed treble that is not forward at the same time. They don't require some perfect source, you know, they don't require much power, they are pretty sensitive, but at the same time they are not too noise peaking, so pretty good balance in these terms. Probably I won't do many comparisons, because you know, almost all other models that I've tested, they sound differently. More natural, more forward, and especially on treble, but I rarely had such darker sounding model, but at the same time they are pretty fun. I won't do comparisons, so if you're looking for such representation, if you look for warmer and darker sound, it's definitely a model worth your consideration. Thank you for attention.